1. Opening scene, the courtroom confrontation. The story begins inside a tense courtroom. Dr. Maya Lawson, a poised and confident black woman in her late 40s, sits in the witness stand. She's a civilian observer today, testifying in a case against a corrupt police officer accused of excessive force. Seated across the courtroom is Officer Bradley Cole, a white aggressive cop with a reputation for racial profiling and brutality. He wears his uniform with arrogance, leaning back as if the trial is a joke. His comrades in the gallery smirk and whisper among themselves. When Maya calmly states in her testimony that systemic abuse exists within the department, Cole scoffs. "That's not how things work," he mutters loudly. The judge warns him to stay quiet, but he ignores it. As Maya continues, Cole abruptly stands, his face darkening. "You don't know what you're talking about, lady," he snaps. Maya doesn't flinch. She locks eyes with him. "I know exactly what I'm talking about," she replies. Cole, used to intimidating people into submission, steps toward her aggressively. "Maybe you need to learn some respect," he says, his voice laced with menace. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. The judge pounds the gavel. "Officer Cole, stand down," a bailiff warns. But Cole doesn't listen. Instead, he lunges toward Maya, grabbing her arm. "Assault!" The courtroom erupts in chaos. Officer Bradley Cole grabs Maya Lawson's arm forcefully, yanking her toward him. Gasps and shouts fill the room as people scramble to react. The judge bangs the gavel furiously, demanding order, but Cole doesn't let go. Maya, however, remains composed. She doesn't struggle or cry out. Instead, she locks eyes with Cole, her expression unreadable. "Take your hands off me," she says, her voice calm but firm. Cole sneers. "You don't give orders here." The bailiffs rush forward, but Cole tightens his grip. "People like you think you can just walk in here and talk like you know the job," he growls. "Maybe you need to be reminded of your place." A younger officer, Detective Rivera, hesitates, looking uncertain. Others stand frozen, unsure whether to intervene. Some of Cole's allies watch with hidden smirks, while others glance at each other nervously. Maya doesn't resist, but she also doesn't cower. She tilts her head slightly, as if studying Cole like a predator watching prey. "You're making a mistake," she says evenly. Cole shoves her against a table, his anger boiling over. Papers scatter as a lawyer shouts, "That's assault!" Finally, the bailiffs pull Cole away, restraining him. "Are you out of your damn mind?" one of them hisses. Maya dusts off her sleeve, exhaling slowly. The entire courtroom is stunned into silence. And then Cole smirks. "Arrest her," he orders. "Charge her with obstruction." The bailiffs hesitate. The judge glares at Cole, but he doesn't back down. "Do it," he growls. Maya doesn't resist as the cuffs click around her wrists. Instead, she watches Cole carefully, her eyes calm but dangerous. The officers lead her out of the courtroom. She doesn't fight. She's flanked by 2 officers. Maya Lawson walks down the dimly lit corridor leading to the booking area of the police station. She moves with quiet dignity, her expression unreadable. Behind her, Officer Bradley Cole follows, his smugness palpable. He still doesn't know who she is. "You think you're tough?" he sneers. "Mouthing off in court like you know anything about police work." Maya doesn't respond. They reach the booking desk, where a tired-looking sergeant glances up from his paperwork. His eyes widen slightly when he sees Maya in cuffs. What's this?" "Obstruction," Cole says, tossing her personal belongings onto the desk. "She disrespected the court and resisted." The sergeant hesitates. Something feels off about this. He glances at Maya, who meets his gaze with calm authority. She knows something he doesn't. Still, he nods to Detective Rivera, the younger officer from the courtroom, who's been watching in silence. "Run her info," the sergeant orders. Rivera hesitates. "You sure?" "Do it," Cole snaps. Rivera walks over to his desk, sighing as he types Maya's name into the system. Within seconds, the screen blinks red, a restricted personnel file. And then Rivera's face drains of color. The sergeant notices. "What is it?" Rivera slowly turns to Cole, looking like he's seen a ghost. We need to call the captain. Now?" Cole scowls. "For what? She's nobody." Rivera shakes his head, swallowing hard. "No, she's not." Cole frowns. "What are you talking about?" Before Rivera can respond, the door to the precinct swings open, and in walks Captain Jim Reynolds, the outgoing police chief. His face is tense, his voice sharp. "Let her go." The room falls deathly silent. Nihilutaschen, du es ink shirtless, shirtless real career. Junus is a sosha for tortunes, boons like a felberg, as if go to the perbecuns repertoire de cura gasher. Eche Ulfes, dupe, do you, Herfo is a pukununki would go hold as go dupe as he goes resort. Rain, also. En lesselinor ders him to those sycamores bemis and begreptions for turn of verticus sip with a path to shooters rocasms a pair of ferisms of Persiard, Fubers Ferglimus was safe. The big reveal. The entire precinct is silent. Officer Bradley Cole stares at Maya Lawson, his face a mix of disbelief and panic. No way, he mutters, shaking his head. This has to be some kind of joke. Maya takes a step closer, her presence commanding. She's in control now. I don't joke about my job, Officer Cole, she says smoothly, and as of this morning my job is police chief of this department. Cole's breathing is uneven. He looks around, but none of his usual allies will meet his eyes. They're backing away. Captain Reynolds steps beside Maya, arms crossed. You didn't bother reading the department-wide announcement, did you? His tone is dripping with disappointment. Rivera mutters, "It was in the email." The sergeant rubs his temples. Jesus, Cole, Maya smirks slightly. I guess you've been too busy violating people's rights to check your inbox. Cole's hands clench. I didn't know. Maya cuts him off with a sharp glare. Didn't know or didn't care? Silence. Cole looks down, his once cocky demeanor shattered. Maya steps even closer, her voice low but lethal. You put your hands on me. You abused your power. And now, Officer Cole... She leans in, just enough for him to feel the weight of what's coming. You're about to find out exactly what happens when a dirty cop finally faces consequences. Realization. The weight of Maya's words settles over the room like a thundercloud. Officer Bradley Cole stumbles back a step, his face pale. His hands twitch at his sides like he wants to say something, to justify himself. But there's nothing left to say. Maya tilts her head slightly. Something wrong, officer. Cole's jaw tightens. This isn't fair, he stammers. I didn't know who you were. Maya laughs softly, shaking her head. So you're saying if I were just any other black woman, this treatment would be fine? The words hang in the air, heavy and damning. Silence. Even the officers who usually back him up say nothing. Some of them shift uncomfortably. Captain Reynolds steps forward. Chief Lawson, what would you like to do? His tone is neutral, but there's something in his eyes, a quiet satisfaction. Maya doesn't hesitate. Officer Cole, she says, voice steady. You are suspended, effective immediately. Cole's breath catches. Wait, I'm launching a full internal investigation into your record, Maya continues. Every complaint, every use of force report, every shady arrest. If I find so much as a parking violation, you're done. Cole shakes his head, panic creeping in. You can't just... Maya raises a hand. He stops talking immediately. Take off your badge, officer. Her voice is ice cold. For the first time in his career, Bradley Cole feels powerless. 7. The power shift. The entire precinct watches as Officer Bradley Cole stands frozen, his hand hovering near his badge. His breathing is uneven, his mind racing. Just minutes ago, he was on top of the world. Untouchable. Now his career is crumbling in front of him. Chief, please, Cole tries, voice unsteady. Let's talk about this. Maya raises an eyebrow, unimpressed. You weren't interested in talking when you had me in cuffs. Cole swallows hard. His eyes dart around the room, but no one steps forward to help him. The power dynamic has shifted. Badge, Maya repeats, her voice leaving no room for argument. Slowly, reluctantly, Cole unclips his badge from his uniform. His hand trembles as he sets it down on the sergeant's desk. The metallic clink echoes through the room. Maya picks it up, turning it over in her hand like she's weighing its worth. Then she looks him dead in the eye. Gun too! Cole's face twists, hates this. He's never been on the receiving end of authority like this before. But he sees it in Maya's face. There's no escaping this. Jaw clenched, he unholsters his gun and sets it down next to the badge. Maya steps forward so close that only he can hear her next words. You like using power to make people afraid, she murmurs. How does it feel when it's turned back on you? Cole doesn't answer. He can't. Maya leans back, giving him one last look. Then she turns to the sergeant. Escort him out. Two officers, former allies who now want nothing to do with him, step up and take Cole by the arms. As they lead him away, the entire precinct watches in silence. And for the first time in his life, the fallout begins immediately. By the time Officer Bradley Cole is escorted out of the precinct, someone has already leaked the courtroom footage online. Within hours, the video goes viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments. The clip is damning. Cole lunging at Maya in the courtroom, his hand gripping her arm, his smug expression, her calm, unwavering stare. The moment he orders her arrest, news stations pick it up, headlines blasting across screens. Racist cop arrests new police chief without knowing who she is. Abuse of power exposed. Officer suspended after assaulting black woman in court. Karma comes for corrupt cop, and it's beautiful. The public erupts. Protests break out in front of the police station, people demanding Cole's immediate termination and arrest. Civil rights groups call for a deeper investigation into his history. Meanwhile, inside the precinct, Maya Lawson watches the news coverage from her new office. A knock at the door. Detective Rivera steps in, looking uneasy. "Chief, I pulled his records like you asked," Rivera says, setting a thick file on her desk. His voice is tight. "It's worse than we thought." Maya flips through the pages of complaints, her jaw tightening. Excessive force reports, civilian brutality, racial profiling, covered up for years. She closes the file. Her decision is clear.